make sure that people share around the thing as well.
So we should be live.
It says we're live now, so that's great.
Yeah.
So
maybe someone will join.
Well, yeah. So I'm just asking if people can share the video link around, so we can sort of get a bit of a view.
Yeah.
But we give it a little bit of time, and maybe we might be able to have something. Ah, yeah. Let's come on my notifications. That's like Liverpool has been revealed to host. So I think we're all right.
I'm just gonna open one thing for the end, because yesterday when I was redoing the Junior 2019 podcast episode, and I was hosting for the first time, and we were doing the outro, and I messed up the link to the site, so I had to.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fine, don't worry about it. Oh God.
Okay, I should have it ready. There are.
Let me just jump on the screen here and see if there's anything on the YouTube people. Is there anyone? Oh, there's 2 people watching on already, so that's a good sign. Hello, if there's anyone.
Hello.
Yeah. Well, also let me just check Twitter as well, just before we just get started on this, so we can see who's on, and just to make sure it's been shared around also. No, it's not been shared yet. Okay. Yeah, lovely. Okay, well, we'll let someone else do that.
Okay, so I guess there are 3 people, so that's a lot of people.
There's more people that are joining now, so we might as well sort of get started.
Yeah, so hello everyone. We are that Eurovision site. My name is Janek. I will be your host for this live stream. I'm joined with Rory from the UK, straight from the UK. So he has maybe more to this than me. But let's talk about what we just got released from the statement. So Liverpool will be the host for the next year's contest edition. So I know that you were very excited for Liverpool.
I was.
Because you did the video for our YouTube page for Liverpool, and when you were doing the live stream after it was shortlisted to just 2 cities with Rosie, you also talked a bit about Liverpool there. So how are you feeling right now after the reveal?
I'm still in a daze, to be honest. I can't really believe that it's happened. I think it was just because I like how I said it in the sort of post shortlist thinning video, that like no one saw Liverpool coming, and it even seemed to be out the favorite now, which and you know, that means that there must have been some really strong plans here from Liverpool, and I'm really excited to see what they're going to pull out. I live only about an hour away from the city, so it's quite close, very easily accessible, and I know from my experiences there, like I've been a few times, like the people are lovely, the aesthetic of the city is also phenomenal as well. I'm just in a state of shock. I just don't really know how else to say it, to be honest. I mean, how do you sort of feel about it?
I am not the greatest person to ask you, because I am not an expert about the UK and each cities. When someone was mentioning Liverpool, I was thinking, oh, that's the town where people have weird accents and no one understands them. That's my whole perception of Liverpool. So I am not don't have any background with it. But I thought when the Glasgow and Liverpool were shortlisted, Liverpool came up with a very strong video for the advertisement. Compared to Glasgow, I thought Glasgow would be like more determined to win the bidding, especially with such a wide history for Glasgow in Eurovision. Like, if I remember correctly, 1998 it was hosted in Glasgow, right?
Yeah, wait, in
1998.
1998, that was Birmingham.
Birmingham, okay.
Yeah.
I think Glasgow was hosted before.
Glasgow has only hosted the Eurovision Dance Contest, which it was a very terribly failed Eurovision format in the late 2000s. But the only city that has
we also hosted Young Dancers.
Wales did that, yeah. The only time that
I mean us, not Wales. Poland.
Oh yeah. As in, well, the only city that has managed to like host Eurovision that's in Scotland is Edinburgh, and that was back in 1972. So that was ages ago. So I think there was that was also partly the reason why there was so much sort of build up that Glasgow would get to host the contest in Glasgow as well, because people wanted to see something else that wasn't just England. So, and they've been sorely disappointed, I'm afraid. So,
yeah, I wanted Glasgow a bit more. I was neutral for both. I wanted Glasgow a bit more because I wanted some Scottish influence in Eurovision. But so what do you think was the pinpoint that Liverpool won? Like, what Liverpool has that you think was the strongest argument to win the bidding?
Well, I think, I mean, it's hard to say because we don't exactly know all of the details. Specifically, like for the bid of each of the cities. But at least in terms of promotion, Liverpool was going all out there. Liverpool was like, we are showing off that we are happy. We are ready to host this. We are ready to welcome people. And, I think part of that must have factored into it, because I don't know about you, but I barely saw anything on social media for Glasgow's bid. I hardly saw anything for it. So, and like, whereas with Liverpool, I saw so many people that were like, Liverpool would be so good because of X, Y, and Z. So I think part of that was like just their happiness, which to just join, and to just like, be there and be in the Eurovision family. I also think that, they've also been very upfront about like how they would sort of incorporate the sort of Ukrainian elements to things. So mostly sort of being the, I guess, mostly sort of being the, the way of having like Ukrainian style, like volunteers wearing like vyshyvanki. I think that would be one of the things that they were having. Like they were very upfront with how they would be incorporating these elements. So I think given that, the narrative in the UK has been very much, we are hosting Ukraine's party. Like, I think part of that has been like very much dominant in this whole like run through. So that must have factored into it somewhere, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I think maybe from the videos that they showed, like Glasgow was focused on, hey, we want to host, we are Glasgow, this is how UK can look. And Liverpool just showed that about if I remember from your video, like Liverpool has a big Ukrainian community, right?
It has a decent sized community. It's fairly decently sized. It's not the biggest in the UK, but it's pretty big.
It's decent, yeah. So I think one of the people could be like a huge Ukrainian number. So maybe that was one of the arguments. Like when it comes to the city itself, like what do you think about the commute there or the public transport in Liverpool?
Ooh, now that would be that's an interesting one, because we also have there is a lot of terms of like public transport in Liverpool. Like, you have buses, you have trains, you have like, there's also the airport that's nearby that is fairly well connected to sort of international destinations. I think recently they'd actually just opened up flight from Chisinau actually to Liverpool. Right, this was before the war started, obviously, in Ukraine. Then that kind of led on to knock-on effects for Moldova, but that's beside the point. So there is a decently sized international airport that's there as well. Decent transport links to and from the city to the airport and to other cities as well. There's also ferries that you can get across the river to the peninsula that's on the other side, which is called the Wirral. It's actually sort of birthed one of the most
I
famous.
need to open the map of Liverpool for a moment.
No. I mean, to be fair, we should have this, but basically, for anyone who doesn't know where Liverpool is, it's on the estuary. It's on the mouth of a massive river called the River Mersey. And, it starts off quite small and then it kind of just balloons into this giant thing. And then on the other side of the river, you have a little peninsula called the Wirral, which you can get to, but pedestrians would have to get the ferry across the Mersey. But if you can drive, you can obviously hire a car out, and then there's a tunnel that kind of goes under the river, which means you can go from there. But yeah, so it is fairly well connected. I wouldn't say that it's entirely isolated. It just is, I guess, it might not be the best place to go if you're not a fan of hills. It's quite a hilly city. But then again, so is Lisbon, and Lisbon managed to host Eurovision in 2018. So, we can't complain. But yeah, so it's decent.
Yeah, I asked you about this because when yesterday we were doing the recording for Junior 2018, Tim talked about that because he was there. But I also talked because I know that was the problem. Gliwice has a horrible commute, so people had to go to Katowice, then to go to Gliwice. So I think when picking the host city is very important. So a great way to get in there, I can see that the arena in Liverpool, I think from what I saw, it's a great spot in the city. It doesn't have problems to get into like we had in 2014, which was just a weird spot for an arena and horrible commute to the arena from what I saw when I heard. So what else can we talk about Liverpool itself?
I guess the sort of thing is as someone who's not been to and never heard that much about Liverpool, I guess what would be your sort of expectations of what Liverpool could put on,
So we can, I think, move on to maybe talk a bit about the logo. So we didn't know how they would incorporate both the UK and Ukraine in the logo. We speculated that it's going to be half and half flag, or today I saw on Twitter an image that was two hearts behind each other that looked like a W more than a V. But I am pleasantly surprised that it's a full Ukrainian flag. I thought there will be more elements with the UK other than pure, clear Ukrainian flag. But they did put United Kingdom below the title, so that's a great addition as well. I don't know. I think it's a.
Sorry, go on.
No, I just said I think it's a great addition. That it's the contest. It should have been in Ukraine, right? So they aren't hiding behind. Oh, so it's in UK, so it has to have the UK flag. So I'm very happy with the decision of the Ukrainian flag.
Yeah, and I think as well, it kind of is feeding into the idea that it is still Ukraine's victory. It's still Ukraine's show. It's just being hosted in the UK. So that's why the UK at the bottom, I think, is a nice touch, because it means that people still know that it's the Ukrainian victory, but there's still it's being handled in a good way. And I think it was better handle that way compared to the compared to the logo that I'd seen previously, which was the double-hearted one with one behind the other, because that sort of gives precedence to it. And in that specific one, they had the UK first and then Ukraine, which also seems a little bit iffy because, you know, it's still Ukraine's victory, but the UK shouldn't be taking full credit for it. But yeah, I think it was a good touch, a nice touch, and it's good to see that they're actually kind of, you know, what's the right way of saying it? Sort of collaborating in a good sense, because this is the first time that we've ever had two different broadcasters work on one contest together. So, you know, there will be compromises that will need to be made, but like so far it seems like they're working pretty well together.
Yeah. How much do you think would be the division between Ukraine and UK? Like, you think the shows will be just Ukrainian interval acts, like and performances, or do you think they will drop a few UK acts in there? And host as well, you think they are going to bring only the Ukrainian members, or also drop a UK born host also? Because that's another thing we have no idea. How can they do?
I think it's hard to say because, you know, obviously, I think I'd like to say that there would be a Ukrainian host in there, and if there was, I would definitely recommend Timo Miroshnichenko. You know, he's practically Mr. Eurovision in Ukraine anyway. I mean, he's already confirmed to be the host of Vidbeer this year already, even though they've got like no artists or nothing. Like, the submissions window is still open, yet he's been confirmed that he will host the show, and he will continue to do the commentary as well. So I think having him on board would be a really good idea. What we will have to bear in mind now is that there are two different styles of hosting here, because, you know, in the UK, the perception of the contest, we've talked about it quite often, is that, you know, Eurovision is very stigmatized. It doesn't really have that much of a positive angle, you know, compared to Ukraine, where it's like, it's seen as the biggest show in the country. So, you know, finding a good balance between the seriousness and the playfulness, I think, would be the perfect angle. So I'd like to think that, you know, he would sort of help to bring some decorum into it. I think I'd like to say that. As for interval acts, I have no idea, to be honest, because, again, it would be a good way of sort of incorporating those Ukrainian elements, but you know, maybe you'd want to bring in a little bit of a UK flair in there. I don't know. What would you think?
I don't know. Yeah, I think they could like maybe do like one like do a collaboration. Maybe have an artist from the UK and artist in Ukraine do a collaboration together and make an interval act that they will sing together. Maybe do a bilingual song and just have as an interval act maybe in the semis or in the grand final. I'm trying to think of an example of an artist from Ukraine that's like the first two songs that come to mind is Joy Hill. I don't know if you remember her. She was, if people don't know her, she was in the Vidbeer a few years ago. I think it was when it wasn't when Lovin won.
No,
it was when Go Away was
when they won with Holiday,
yeah, with the song Vegan. It was iconic, and another surname I found might is Aliona. She's a rapper from Ukraine. Jerry and Aliona are doing a lot of collaboration with other artists right now, especially they did a song with Monica Liu recently.
Love
Monica.
Monica is the queen, you know.
Yeah. Can we have Monica back?
She can come back as many times as she wants, and I will be totally fine with that.
Yeah, Jerry and bring Monica Liu to Liverpool and do an interview together. People will love her.
I'd love
But I'm not sure about Jerry, especially because from what I know, she's rumored to play part in Wilbur this year, upcoming year. She's one of the artists that is rumored. One of the artists that I'm very excited for Wilbur is Christina Slavi, who I love her music. She has like yeah, I can recommend a bit of some of her songs like Fortepian and there's one song that Trimai is very popular from her. She also she was I don't know if any of you watched the video for Junior this year. She was one of the she was one of the juries this year for Video Junior, and I know she wants to take part in Eurovision. She said that if she has a song, she will take part. So I am holding her to that.
No, definitely, yeah. And I mean, Kroot is what I also love. Kroot. Kroot is an amazing artist. You know, the Ukrainian element with the bandura, which is the you know, that was 99. Which was also in Video 2020. We're basically just going down a love for 2020 route down here right now, but genuinely,
every year, so that's
this is why Ukraine deserves to be one of the most successful countries at Eurovision.
I never got hyped about that line, but I think she's a great artist, and I'm excited for what she can do. Other artist that comes to mind for interval acts for Ukraine is Kaska. They are very popular in the East, especially Baltics, and I think they got popular in Poland for a bit, because I remember when suddenly they changed all their some items. They blew up with a song called Pokawa, and suddenly their whole album was turned into English titles. I was so mad that they changed it to English. I don't know why, but
definitely, yeah. And I mean, it's great to sort of think of it like that. I think also another artist that, I mean, they already have been a Eurovision interval act, but I feel like now would also be a good time to bring them back. Onuka. I think Onuka would be, they have an electronic style that is quite like up and coming, especially in terms of the UK scene as well. So collaborating with that level and a UK artist would really work well. And I love that. Also, I mean, if we're also going down that route, we might as well talk about sort of Daka Braka as well. Daka Braka, they've collaborated with Jamala. They've collaborated with they were on like Fargo, which is like one of the most like well-known sort of musicians, like TV shows in like the sort of 1990s / and then they brought it back again. But so again, like they also played Glastonbury this year as well, alongside Kalush Orchestra and Jamala as well, and Goe. So again, these are great artists that deserve to show off their Ukrainian heritage, and I think sort of collaborating with UK artists on that would be a fantastic sort of interval. You know,
they should just bring Jamala back for interval acts, or they have to bring Jamala back for.
I mean, they milked her in 2017. I'm sure they can do it again. You know,
they could also just put Goe on stage. She can just stand on the stage with the silence, and that can be interval act. And I would be happy that she's there. Yeah.
Oh, we love Jamala.
Her name? I forgot what's her name. This lead singer from Goe. Oh my god.
I don't know.
I am so mad at myself because I need to double check because this will going to eat me.
Go for it. I think it's
Katrina Pavlenko. Dobra. Yeah.
Katrina Pavlenko.
Yeah.
Oh, from Goe. Yeah. Okay, now I understand. I was confused. Yeah. Honestly, again, if she also just stood there and just did the Solove dance, again, that could have been just the interval act on its own. You know, it's fantastic. But But yeah,
One thing I don't want to see in Liverpool is Alina Pash can stay away.
oh,
like, like I was such a big fan of Alina before Vidibir happened. Like one of the song that I really loved from her. But that year, that the national final season was such a mess for her. So I'm like, maybe you should chill for a year.
I don't know. I don't know how to go from there though. I think, you know, I think no matter what was happening, even, and I know this is going to be a very controversial opinion, but I think no matter whether it was going to be Alina or Kalush Orchestra going, I think either of them would have won anyway. Yeah. So it's a case of like, you know, to what level, you know, and she's not going to be involved anyway. I don't think I know she's still kind of going around a little bit and doing a bits of fundraising every now and again, but
yeah. I think Alina would have been maybe very potential top 2 of the juries than Kalush. Kalush was, I think, 4th in juries, but I think Alina would have been like maybe 2nd because her voice, of course, like the bird sound that she does with her throat. That's not a easy part to do. So.
Oh no, not at all. Yeah, although we do know that that juries don't tend to like rap, and given that spoken word bit / rap in the middle, that would have maybe count against her. But again, Ukraine knows how to stage. This is the thing. So like, it wouldn't have mattered. I think they would have pulled something massive off. But I don't think she'll be around for 2023. I think she'll be fine. Yeah, and if she is, then we'll have to keep an eye out on her.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So we talked about Liverpool a bit. I think we can leave Liverpool for a while now. So let's talk about the dates that were released. So we are having semi-final 1 on the 9th of May. 9th of May. 9th. 11th of May we have second semi-final, and the 13th we have the grand final. So when I first saw the dates, I thought that was very early for Eurovision, but I think that's the regular dates that they could happen. I always when it comes to Eurovision, I forget that it's such a early May. I always think, it's middle of May, but it's very, very, very early. Just regular dates. But one thing that you haven't mentioned, that semi-final 1 and 2 will be aired on BBC One, right?
Yeah.
Because from what I know, they don't air on BBC One semi-finals. That's the first time that they don't air on BBC One.
Yeah.
That makes me think that maybe we have someone from that hosts the semis, has commentates with semis, have maybe a crucial part in the hosting. Maybe we have a Ryland host. Maybe.
Hey, Ryland is a massive fan of Eurovision. I was lucky enough to meet him at LEP in April, and he's a lovely guy. He's obsessed with the contest. You can tell it. He's what Eurovision needs in terms of commentary. So, and because I mean, look, we can talk about it here. Graham Norton is starting to go down a little bit down the Terry Wogan route, whereby he's starting to get maybe a little bit bitter, but maybe things will change now after the whole Sam Ryder sort of thing, the rebirth, almost the British Renaissance at Eurovision. But yeah, I think the main thing we should talk about with the BBC moving it to semi-finals, like the semi-finals to BBC One, is that you have to bear in mind that before this, the semi-finals were basically on the BBC's last TV channel, as in the one that was only like sort of reserved for really posh art projects, really sort of outlandishly snooty documentaries about classical music in the 1500s. Whereas now, I mean, well, it moved to BBC Three, which is the more sort of young person geared channel this year. But now that it's kind of coming back to BBC One, it means that there's going to be way more people watching it. There's going to be more people that are going to be getting engaged with it, especially in the UK, which means that they're continuing to try and turn the tide of this whole anti-UK, anti-Eurovision sort of narrative, which is good. It's very, very good. Just hope that they can build on that now and not resort to these really stupid sketches that they do in the semi-finals, which means that we miss out on the interval act. And given the fact that the UK is hosting it on behalf of Ukraine, I would like to think that they would not go out of their way to not show the interval acts. So we'll have to see. But yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, because I think they are on a good track. I really hope that they won't end up like France did this year. Like they had a top 2 result with bottom 2 undeserved result.
100%.
100% not deserved. I'm just when it comes to France this year, I'm happy they showed the culture, but I hoped for a better result, and I'm scared that they're going back to pop and chansons next year, even though I love them so much, but I wanted something different maybe for France. What do you have like a suggestion of who could represent UK this year? Like who could they choose, or like what direction could they go in with the UK song-wise and artist-wise?
That's such a tough question.
Do you think they will go back to like pop music that isn't exactly UK pop music, like safe pop, or go on a route like maybe not Sam Ryder level, because I thought Sam Ryder's song was a Eurovision song more than a song that represented the UK pop or overall music scene. So I don't know what.
It's so hard because, like, again, the UK music scene, like, what you think what it's like when it comes to Eurovision is nothing compared to what it is like actually.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so hard to sort of pin down, because this was the first year in quite a while that it sounded fairly representative of what, the UK's music scene is kind of like. It's a bit poppy, it's a bit, rocky in elements, and that would comparing it to Embers, because Embers, for example, we did also say was fairly representative of the UK music scene, but I think that was so representative that it was to a fault, where I feel like with Spaceman, it kind of like was in the middle, where it's accessible to lots of people, but also was like, this is what the UK music scene is like. I think it straddled the line pretty well, and you kind of need to find another artist that would be sort of similar to that. And like, it's hard to think of, I personally myself, and I know in my heart of hearts this would probably never happen in a million years, but I would love to see London Grammar do Eurovision. Now, if you've never listened to London Grammar, they're very dream poppy, they're very like, very intimate. It's a very intimate style, and they're very they're very well known in the UK anyway, and they've been the supporting act for Coldplay throughout their European tour, which is, again, opened a lot of people to their music, which is fantastic. If there was one song I would recommend that you listen to, Hey Now is the best one to listen to. So because it's the best way I can describe it is basically a earlier version of O Jardim, Portugal 2018. So again,
I'm gonna love, if it's O Jardim, I'm gonna love it.
When I listened to O Jardim the first time, the first song that came to mind was this Hey Now song by London Grammar. So check it out when you get a chance. But if you wanted someone that's a bit more like rough and ready, I guess you could maybe go for someone maybe like Tom Grennan. He's quite like an up and coming artist. Yeah.
I wanted to mention him.
Oh really?
As well.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll let you have the floor because I don't know too much about him. So
I mean, I'm not like, I haven't been very deep into his music. I know like there's I think 2 songs that I know very well. Other less like just skill me. Like one of them is Found What I've been looking for. I think it's the name, and the other one is oh my god, I forgot. But yeah, I wanted to mention, like, if you want to go in the pop rock, I think one of the maybe what the UK want to do is like maybe go for a rather established singer than maybe someone new, but not in the level like Brian Taylor or the Mr. 12 with very complicated name. So I was going to say, like, when you go, maybe go for the pop route, you can go for Tom Grennan or even get Ollie from Years and Years. I know he was supposed to almost represent you this year. Maybe.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, from what I heard, the final two was Sam Ryder, and Ollie from Years to Years was like last 2 artists that they thought could be. Yeah, I also there was a few years ago a very popular song in the UK called "Cast by Freya." Somehow, some name, surname.
Freya Ridings.
So,
Freya Ridings.
I think I don't know.
She's like on the piano. She's very like slow.
Yeah.
Maybe.
The Tom Grennan song was called "A Little Bit of Love." That's the one that also know from him. But when you can also go like maybe more of a indie route, like Get Doddy is a very great shout. Like she has a very good indie sound and also a great fan base in around the world. But also maybe you can go for like a rock/metal. Like they are from Scotland. They're called Holding Absence. They are very great band. I know one song from there, but if the one song from them is like the discography, I think they are very great way for maybe more to grab a bit more different audience than usual. I think it's a great shot to maybe have them. But yeah.
It's kind of interesting because like you can take lots of different angles. Like you can take so many different routes, you know? Like how you were saying you could go rock, you could go indie, and like indie music is like a big thing in the UK's chat. Like it's in the UK's like wheelhouse, you know, like you have like Arctic Monkeys, you have who else? Like the Courteeners, you have the Smiths, like all of the Cure, all of these big artists that have like influenced lots of music nowadays, you know. So yeah, if it was me, I would say London Grammar. I think if we wanted a sort of female artist with a very strong voice, I would say Celeste is also really a lovely artist. She has lots of good songs. You know, she's not just a sort of slow singer, although she does those songs really well. She has like sort of up-tempo songs as well. I'd also sort of say Django Django, which is like a really good like kind of pop indie band. They've kind of been kind of around for a good like 10-15 years. They're doing pretty well for themselves. And like again, like myself personally, I'd also like to see an artist called Laura Mvula. She's from Birmingham. She's a really good like soul singer. She's like done some really good things, and she does a lot of unconventional style music. It's not just bound to like typical time signatures and things like that. Now that obviously would probably be far too removed maybe for Eurovision context, but in my heart of hearts, I would love to see her. But you know, this is what I mean. There's so many routes that you can kind of go down. It's just what sort of artists are in TAP, like are signed to TAP. That's the question, you know, because they're the ones that are, you know, looking after Eurovision again this year. So we have to sort of keep an eye out. I mean, Dua Lipa is involved with them as well, so we could always do Dua Lipa. So don't rule her out.
When I see Dua Lipa in Eurovision, does they retire from Eurovision?
Hey, if Dua Lipa entered Eurovision, I think the world would collapse in on itself, probably.
Yeah.
Albania would just get all the 12 points, and that's it.
Yeah,
you know?
It's also very, very, very difficult to talk about UK artists that could be interested in Eurovision, because there is not a lot of them that are very vocal about the contest. Like you could see, like with Spain this year, also a spectacular result, and Spanish people are very passionate about Eurovision. Even the singers that are watching the show say that they are just throwing positive message to the artists and watching the contest itself. So I think it's a big difference between them. Like we don't know who could appear, who could not. So, and also like UK is very diverse when it comes to the music scene. So it's and not everyone knows everyone, of course, because a lot of popular UK artists are like very, very, very popular. So yeah. I, like you talked about Dua Lipa, like bring Adele, bring her.
Let Albania.
That would be also.
We get someone else in there too. It'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since Raza is opening for Ed Sheeran, bring him too. I don't care.
Why not? Yeah, just throw everything in.
That's everyone. Maybe you can get top 3 again somehow.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, now that we've had this second place, a lot of people in the UK will think, oh my God, this was just a once off, or oh my God, this is the beginning of a new thing. I mean, like, are you expecting it? Like, do you expect them to do well again next year? Or do you, I mean, obviously we're saying this as if we had like any of the songs, which we clearly don't, but in your intuition, sort of, do you feel that the UK is starting to turn things around? Do you think that it's going to be a new era for them, or do you think it'll kind of just be a bit of a blip and they'll go back down?
Yeah, I think it's a tricky one, because I don't trust the UK because they could be overconfident and write something that it's like so very mid and it's just not interesting. I don't know. It's very weird. Weird. I don't know it well, because I look at as like someone from Poland. Like we don't do well in Eurovision. Like I am like
undeserved.
I'm just gonna remind everyone, we have 3 top 10 results from ever since we debuted, and our best result is our debut. So like. Yeah, we got 2nd, 7th, and 8th, and the next result is 11th. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, so it was Edyta Górniak, Michał
Górniak, Szpak got 8th, ich Troje got 7th, and 11 is wait, no, I am looking.
Often.
Why is I'm looking correctly. Sorry, and our third best result, 4th best result is Ale Jestem by Anna Maria Rapek. That's 1997, and Ochman is our 5th best result. So, yeah. Then we have 14th, 15th, 17th, 17th, 18th, 18th, 20th, 20th, and then
all the non-qualifiers.
Yeah. We have 22nd, 23rd, 24th, and then we have semifinals. We have 11th, 14th, 12th, 13th, then last 14th, 11th, and cancelled, and 14th for raffle. So yeah, so we have like when I started watching Eurovision like 2015, 2014. I knew that was happening. I just didn't catch up the show. And when we came back from the 2-year break, we started strong. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 qualifications in a row. Then we have non-qualification, cancelled, non-qualification. That's a long streak of qualification. Then we have we had Offenbach. That's 12th place. Like that's very high. So I am looking at UK and thinking, when will we have the same result? Like everyone is stepping up. Like Spain got top 3 after 7 years of being, but no, it's their best result since 2000.
The best, yeah. Well, the first time they got
2014, they got top 10 in 2014.
Yeah.
But best place, like when last time Spain got top 5, top 3?
I think the last time was like 1995 or something.
In the 90s, I think in the 90s.
Yeah.
So like,
which is like mental when you think about it, But I think,
we haven't gotten top 3 since 1994, so that's 28 years. So.
It's scary. But this is what I mean. Like, do you think that all of these countries doing well is just a blip, or do you think that it's just the beginning of something new?
I hope so. I hope so. Like, I just want the Polish artists to go to Eurovision without being like, I don't want to work for this television. Like understandable. I wouldn't work for TVP either, but like, just maybe speculate. Maybe you want to, like, we have a lot of great artists from Poland that's very popular, but unfortunately they are very open about being anti-current government. So I don't know if they ever be picked. So yeah, we have a very huge rap scene in Poland, but that's not very well shown in our Eurovision song. We are mostly ballads, after ballads. Yeah. Like the most, like what you can see in the radios, like what you can hear from our entries. Like Gromi was a great example. Like the kind of music that could be popular. 2014 is a great example because 2014 this song was, when it got released, it was very, very popular, and it was even before they were chosen as the from what I remember, I think they took part in the national final because of the huge popularity of the song. So they didn't write it for Eurovision. That's why I think they shouldn't write songs especially for Eurovision. Like,
yeah, definitely
something from, like even Light Me Up wasn't written for Eurovision. The song that also blew up before they even submitted the song to the selection. So yeah, like I'm thinking of the big songs that like a lot of people talk about 2016, like Margaret, Cool Me Down. Like this is a big talking point. No, I hate this. I hate this song. I hate the song.
Out of all of her Eurovision attempts, that was the best song because she's tried to go through Melody Festival and for quite a couple of times.
But girl, you can sing. So, so that's my opinion. But if you knew me, I am very open mind about Margaret's music. So like even when Tulia released their song, like it's very traditional for us, but it's not something you could hear. There is Bardos is a duo as very popular in Poland. They called Katiewani. If you heard something about them. It's spelled out Kwiat Jabwone. They're very, very popular in Poland. The sister, she sings in wild voice sometimes. Like when she's doing the higher notes, she's doing that in wild voice, but not like wild voice you hear from Tulia. It's more poppy wild voice than them. so they're my number one choice because for Eurovision, like I think their music is very very fitted for the contest. But yeah, I know. I really hope we could look at countries like Spain and UK to do well.
Yeah,
we are sidetracked. We're supposed to talk about Liverpool. We're talking about Poland.
No, yeah, we kind of just fell off of it. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
but no, it's interesting. You know what I mean? And you know, I think it's because we're looking ahead now to what it's going to be like in May, and you know, obviously we're saying this as if you know we know all of the songs. We don't know any songs yet. You know, all we know is
we only know one. We know one artist, and we know what will she bring because her music is very poppy.
One note.
I just.
It's very much like the same thing. It's all the same.
Yeah. Now I thought now for a while before she Americanized herself, like because she sang a lot of Hebrew pop more. Now when she got into the American
the American market.
Yeah, now she sings mostly English. I really hope she can maybe sing something in Hebrew because her best songs have that Hebrew sound to it. I don't know what safe word. I don't want to say Israeli because that's not exactly an
watch her come out with some of the most like generic pop or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's why. That's what I thought about Set Me Free because I enjoy Set Me Free. But Fekirli B had so many languages in it. Like, what happened between 2020, 2021 writing process for what's her name?
Vanetta.
No.
Eden.
Eden. Yeah. Like, what happened? Like, where did it disappear? Like, so that's what I'm really hoping that Noah will bring something from her country's sounds.
Yeah, I think it's so hard to tell, obviously, because you know people will want to start having that international appeal, I guess, but you know it's too early to tell right now, I guess. Once we now have the first few dates anyway of national selections starting to come out, so Midbeer 2023 will be held in just I think the week before Christmas. Festival Gungus will be held a couple of days after Christmas. So already we're having before the year is out, we're looking to have roughly about 2 or 3 songs already, because if now touch wood the Czechia doesn't withdraw, if ESCZ will probably happen again in December/November time, so by which point then we will have a third song. So I think finally for now countries are starting to realize maybe we should plan this a bit further ahead of time instead of just leaving it to the last and then just being like, here's all the songs.
If Czechia even mentions withdrawing, I'm gonna appear there. When I appear at the Czechia's television, I'm gonna stand there and I'm gonna leave until they want to withdraw.
Literally, it's the same thing as Slovakia. Yeah. You're not withdrawing. You're not withdrawing.
They said that they are not taking part this year, right?
Well, they said they weren't, but then they had a change of director general, and the outgoing director general hated Eurovision, whereas this new one seems to not really have much of an opinion on it. So they might if we bully them enough, maybe we might be able to get them to come back.
just take part and send Adonis. It's your most popular Slovakian artist, and just send him, and you will see he will do well, because his music is very very Eurovision friendly. Yeah,
we'll see what happens, but I mean we have a few, usually the participating countries start coming out, the last few come out around this time before the final list comes out in around late October, November time. So we'll find out fairly soon who's in, who's out. We definitely know anyway there won't be any Russia, So that, and Belarus, so that's gonna be fine. So bye.
Good riddance. No.
Yeah, literally.
No.
But yeah, we'll find out, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah.
So what are your sort of like thoughts about like the sort of dates as well? Because just bringing it back to what we were saying before.
Maybe 11:30. I think that's from. I didn't, when I first, my brain thought that was very early for my, but like it's such a rather usual days for Eurovision. Like now just remember that a lot of years that they are very fair dates. I need to check because we in May have, no, what I'm saying, we have, so in Poland we have something called Majówka, which is like a long weekend off, because of 1st May is a holiday, 3rd May is holiday, so like it stretches out. And I was like, what time of what days are Majówka this year? I just remember that it's always the same because of 3rd and 1st. So yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. I think it's gonna like it. Yeah, it's just typical Eurovision dates. I think it's this like. It's quite funny because like in our team chat we'd been having conversations like, oh, it's quite early, but when I think early Eurovision, I think of 2014 where it was the 4th, 6th, and the 8th or whatever, and that's quite early for it. But I think it's also due to coincide with like Europe Day, which is usually on like the 9th of May or the 7th of May, one of those 2 days, which obviously, the overall sort of sympathy of Eurovision is all about bringing Europe together. And I mean, Europe Day is all to do with the EU and sort of bringing people together. So I don't really think that's much of an issue, I don't think. But yeah, it's going to be interesting now because obviously Liverpool's arena is now going to have to clear its entire schedule for the next 6 weeks.
I just wanted to mention that Oli has to reschedule his concert in Liverpool. My friends also said that Dua Lipa has to reschedule her contest.
Really?
Yeah, she has that on 29th of April. 26th April is Little Mix concert in Liverpool. 24th is Craig David, and I don't know, Craig David has a concert in Liverpool. Oli Mers has a concert in Liverpool
on the 6th of July, which is, well, I mean, that would, luckily it wasn't going to be him that would be the final interval act, I guess now, because there was a little bit of discourse that he would end up being the interval act because it was a Saturday and in May, and we didn't know the dates at this point. So yeah, and to be honest, he's not exactly the best artist to have to have the final interval act be, but I can't say anything because in case he gets picked. So
I haven't heard his music since like 2000 something. I don't know when he was popular worldwide with his music. I for a long time I thought he was just a one-hit wonder, but I see he is more popular in UK now, right?
Yeah, I mean he's gone into like TV presenting for a little bit, but now he's going back into music, so it's kind of like, okay.
He's on The Voice, right? He's one of the coaches in The Voice.
He's one of the coaches, like, so that's one of the main reasons. He also did a bit of hosting. He hosted like 1 year of the X Factor here at one point, and then is doing a little bit of like charity telethon kind of hosting as well. So that was also something that he was doing. So
do we have I don't think we have an X Factor anymore. I am so out of touch.
Yeah, we cancelled ours in the end, like after like 15, 16 years after we pretty much
we
into the ground.
We haven't had X Factor for 8 years now, so I'm not that much out of touch because Cleo got popular for X Factor. That's why I was thinking. I think last year we had like the Polish people had conversations about who will represent us, because suddenly Sylwia Grzeszczak is a voice coach, and suddenly she is very popular again in Poland after she had a break. So we thought she might represent us. I know it was last year or 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago when Rafał was rumored as well. Like, we really don't know who could represent Poland. Like, when it comes to the national final we had this year, most of them were unknown artists. Everyone but Christian. He was the most popular from them because he won The Voice. He, as a fun fact, if you don't know, Christian was on Michał's tracks team when Michał was on The Voice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but Michał got fired because of
issues.
some opinions he had. The same thing about Andrzej Piaseczny. He recently came out after years of being bullied to come out, and he also had some words about someone, and he got also fired for that.
God, fair enough.
Yeah, like our commentator from who was commentating until 2020 also got fired, but I don't remember the exact reasons. So yeah, that's
I think that's probably a good reason just to not think about the reasons. I think it's fine to leave him there.
Yeah. Like, if I remember correctly, what they said is that he was always being late to rehearsals. But I don't know if it's the whole truth. You don't know.
That's for him to know, I guess, isn't it? So
yeah.
I mean, the only thing I will say about Vibram in the hit is that I personally thought Chista Voda should have won it, but that's just me. But I love that song.
That's very sad, because Chista Voda was a song that, when it comes to Polish fans, no one was like, oh, this song is very good. International fans really enjoyed it, and no one from Poland was talking about it during the Krajowa Eliminacja or the Wybieramy Hit na Eurowizję, whatever
it was. BNSF Europy,
yeah. I don't remember the whole title.
Yeah, we select a hit for Eurovision. I don't know, it's so insane.
Wybieramy Hit na Eurowizję. But from what I know, she won an award for the best like debut, like in a very, very popular and very prestigious award. So that's what happened.
Is that the ESCA award?
No, she won. What's it called? Oh, I'm blanked. I'm gonna Google her really quickly. Like, she got recognition after the national final happened. What was the name of the award? We have like it's in Poland. This concert, and it's a very, very, very prestigious award for best debut. But she won it after very late after she sang at the NF. So that's that. Like, the other also, Unmute was a very big surprise for everyone. Like, no one was expecting them to do well as they did. And of course, Paranoia was a very big hit in Poland before the NF, but everyone didn't wanted to represent us because she was iffy live sometimes. There are rumors around that she was supposed to represent us, but the delegations had her sing at the New Year's concert and said maybe we shouldn't take her. That's the same thing that happened in Margaret in 2016. That's from her. Like, they had her sing live and said maybe we shouldn't pick her certified do a national final. So yeah, it's very common for us to change our minds completely. Yeah, I'm very excited to see, especially how the UK will host especially when it comes to the Ukrainian culture and how they will comprehend them together. Like as I said, maybe to some like mixed interlife subset. Onuka is a very great example because like bring some DJ from the UK and just let the Onuka lady sing for him, like just random thoughts now.
Craig David. Craig David, he's the one that, you know, he can be the person to do it, you know.
So I know your concert has to be cancelled, but we have an opportunity for you. Maybe you can sing at this concert instead.
Yeah, there you go. You know, it's fine. Just sort of like bring them all on, you know, like Dua Lipa, Ollie Murs, and Craig David in one go.
And Little Mix also.
Yeah, exactly. Why could you not have a good time with that?
Yeah.
Oh God. But yeah, I think that's kind of everything that we know right now. You know,
we stopped talking about Liverpool in like first 30 minutes, and we just
we started to trail off a little bit by that point. But, you know,
I'm happy. If Isabel was here, we would have been talking a bit more. I think I have an effect. Isabel and I have an effect.
Yeah, no, we're keeping it short and sweet on this live stream today.
Yesterday, Team Jazz and I were recording the podcast episode that for the Junior Eurovision 2019, and you can check it out soon. I don't know. Tim said next week, but I hope it's next week when we talked about the contest. So, and I was sitting like, this is short. This is too short for me for the moment.
It's so weird. Yeah.
Because my first podcast recording was Serbia, and there were 5 of us, and it took us 2 hours to finish. So like,
oh my God! Okay, that's mental.
Yeah, it was very great discussion. I really enjoyed it. And of course, when I did the TES award with Isabel Roth, that also took us 4 hours, 5 hours.
I was not involved in that. I'm not getting involved. No. Yeah. To be fair, we're just very deep thinkers and we like to talk. So you know, that's why if anyone's still watching now, there's 3 people watching us right now. Hello to you 3.
I see 4, so maybe hello 4 people. I don't know who's the 4th person. But...
Oh, hello 4th person. You've come in at the right time. But yeah, I think you know, at this stage in the game when it comes to the hosting, there's not really much now that we need to know about Liverpool at this point. I think at this stage, this is where we turn to, you know, some of the countries starting to select their artists and stuff. We don't really need to be looking at Liverpool now until January time when it comes to the allocation draw. So that'll be interesting to think now. So I know it's so weird to think that like that's next in terms of the delegations timeline now. But of course, you know, they're going to have to work out creative sort of ideas for the stage and, you know, technical aspects that, you know, that probably just were not talked about at all. So yeah, we'll find out a little bit more close to the time, I guess. I'm excited though.
I really hope they do something about the press. Like this 2020 was a mess when it comes to press, so I really hope they just decide what they want to. Like, I am scared what will be next year because of what happened this year. Like, from what stories I heard from Angus that happened this year, I was like, that's shady, but but yeah, you have to do what you have to do. So like,
I think, you know, if they're planning on making anything move, make sure it works before you let people on. I think that's the moral of the story here. You know, we don't want another broken sun. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. No sun.
No.
Like, no water, no sun. Just maybe
a broken I don't know, Vishivanka or a broken sunflower or something like that. I don't know.
Sunflower. Or not sun. Imagine next year instead of this moving sun, we have a moving sunflower instead.
Oh my god!
Like the top of the sunflower just being
It's like,
that's it. Like, but instead of moving like this, it's moving like circle because
right.
of the flower of the petals. Like
That'd be so
Bio,
funny.
hire me. I can work
Creative
it.
director
Yeah.
right here. It's Janek. Hello, like.
I have no diploma when it comes to design or stage design. So, but hire me.
Just go on. Just hire me on hunches. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Oh god. Right. Well, and get that front. I think we should probably maybe wrap this up. So if we've kind of run out of things to talk about with Liverpool.
Yeah. One thing I want to talk about is: do you think the press room will be rather close to the arena, or like?
Oh yeah. Well, that's also a thing. I mean, so it is a question now of whether they're going to have the press room immediately behind the stage, or if they're going to have it in the exhibition center immediately next door to the arena. Because if you've seen in the video that I like in the Liverpool video, like you see that the M&S Bank Arena, it's only one half of the building, and then the other half is an auditorium, and that auditorium can be sort of gutted for a bit, and then that could become the press center, or it could be the green room that they could have similar to in 2013 when Malmö hosted it, like that was an off-site green room that they could move their way in. And then immediately right next to that, there is also like a bridge that connects the auditorium bit to the exhibition center. So again, it would make a lot of sense for sort of press to come back and forth, and maybe by that point, maybe they might actually get to have quite a lot of new, like more journalists involved in that, because that's a very big exhibition center. They could have a lot more engagement with people. So maybe we could get a lot more sort of in-person stuff.
Because when it comes to press room, one of the very amazing parts of press rooms is artists who just go to the press room and just hang out with the journalists and ask us questions. Like this year we had Moldova just dancing with everyone and doing just playing music. Like Ronella was walking around with her amazing hat that was like,
it was so good.
I don't know, yeah. Like 2 years ago, Benny was like in the press room, like every time he was there, and so like just bringing the having a very close press room is important for the interactions between the artists and the press. So I really hope that it will be very easy.
Yeah, I think as well, we also have to realize this is going to be the first Eurovision without sort of big COVID restrictions, because because obviously last year, like we had a relatively normal one, but there were still mask mandates involved, and people still couldn't go too close. There was still a fair bit of social distancing as well. For people who are prepared for it, the UK does not care anymore. Like we got rid of those rules for about a year, like over a year ago, and there's no desire to sort of reinstall them for the sake of the contest. So I would imagine that if for anyone who has any issues, you might just have to suck it up. So, fair warning.
Yeah, it's I remember when the first time they just got rid of masks in Poland. First day I was without mask, everyone was with mask. I just got sick immediately. Like
really?
3 years of not getting sick. Suddenly, I have a cold, and I had to.
Terrible timing.
I think I really don't. We were looking at the chat, but I see a lot of support for Liverpool. I'm very happy that Liverpool has support behind. I agree with you, and 2020 was a very good year. So, and I'm still mad that the contest didn't happen, but understandable.
Well,
So I think
Yeah. Sorry, go
I
on.
was saying that we should end, but
No, that's it.
we
Yeah, I
are
was just
going.
gonna sort of do a little like I was just saying like, look, we're happy that it's Liverpool. Myself, I mean, it's great. I don't have to pay accommodation. I can just go to my home and sleep in my bed, and it's gonna be fantastic. So I'm incredibly happy, and I think we just need to sort of just let this sort of sink in and sort of decompress and all this kind of thing. So I think that's what I'm gonna do anyway after we finish here.
Yeah. So let's end, shall we? Do you have any final words you want to say?
Well, I mean, the only thing is, we're gearing up for 2023 now, just sort of keep an eye out on our
Not
site.
only 23, we are also having Junior Eurovision in
Oh, yes,
few
yes.
months.
I forgot
Yeah.
about that. That's also a possibility that that's gonna shake things up as well. So, yeah.
Hopefully in Armenia.
In Armenia, yeah. So we're gonna
Hopefully.
be well, as
Knock
far
on wood.
as we know, again, touch wood. It should be all right. But I think we'll be safe enough for that. And again, the UK is returning for that, so that's gonna be fun. But we'll talk more about that on another podcast anyway, because
Okay.
who knows?
Okay, everyone.
Yeah, that's all I need to say anyway. Just sort of thanks
Yeah.
for anyone who's been, here. Thanks a lot for sticking with us and, getting ready to prepare for Eurovision 2023 with us as well. We've got a lot of great ideas coming your way. So, stick around. It'll be good.
Okay, so I should do an outro. So don't forget to check out our fan page. It's thateurovisionsite.com. You can read our articles about the newest Eurovision related news. Junior Eurovision is coming soon, so that's a great way to also get into our site, especially with new songs coming soon. We are, when it comes to Junior, I think every national final comes to Songwest is done. Only Ireland is picking the artists for national finals. So we are waiting for song lists for Junior Eurovision. Of course, we will bring you information about Junior Eurovision this year, and during the Junior Eurovision, for sure, our boss, our head editor team will be in Yerevan, so he'll be bringing news from Yerevan about the contest itself. And of course, we for a month now we are in the 2023 season. We're waiting for some news about the artists, some about national finals. And national finals is starting the submissions for the selection. Like Serbia is still open. And of course, we're having the closest national finals is, of course, Vidbir and Festival Kenges. Don't forget to follow us on social media. We have, of course, we have YouTube. That's where you are watching us. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I always wanted to say this. Forget to like and subscribe. We have a bell. You can set notification on so you don't have to miss our new uploads or live streams. We have a Twitter, we have a Facebook, we have an Instagram, and also we have a TikTok at that Euro site. I almost said podcast, but that's still.
Yeah. I mean,
Also, we are doing podcast episodes. We talk about Eurovision related news with news, song releases. We also talk about Eurovision years, also Junior Eurovision years. Tomorrow is Saturday. We have a new episode coming. I forgot which one it is. I think it's
second chance contest. I think it is.
Maybe it is. Next week we'll probably have the 2019 Junior Division podcast out, and Serbia contest on podcast about Serbia. So don't miss that. You can listen our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast is a thing. I think it is. Apple Podcast, Spotify, whatever you want. And of course, follow the fan pages for the Euro Podcast at that Euro Podcast on Facebook, on Twitter, and Instagram. I thought we should make a TikTok for our podcast, but I don't think he wants to do this.
Well, I mean, you're welcome to do it.
I have no technical and editing skills, so I can do that. So yeah, I think that's all our social media stuff. Of course, you can follow me. I am Unbankedtenna on Twitter, and on Instagram I am Pallad, like PALLAD99. Pallad because of chemistry. So that's why. And of course, yeah, I have a degree in chemistry, so I should. I am like, I'm getting another one this year. I really hope I can be more active on the site, because I have a very hard year coming. And of course, Rory, thank you for coming to the stream. Very last minute proposition, because I just said maybe we should do this. So I'm really happy that someone came. Yeah, I assume your Twitter is at Rory Gannon.
It is, yes.
I'm saying correctly, like Gannon.
Yeah, Gannon. Yeah. So and then also my Instagram is at Rorio, so like Oreo but with an R at the beginning, .g.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you can find all of my escapades over there. Love it.
Yeah, I also have a Facebook. It's Untitled, but I don't know if I want to talk about on Facebook. But also you can message me on Discord. It's Janek #3864. If someone wants to DM me and talk about Eurovision, go ahead. So I think that's I think that's
pretty much it.
Yeah, that was a longer outro than I thought I would be doing, but
you got there in the end. That's all that matters.
Yeah. And thank you for watching, and see you soon. I don't know when, but see you soon.
See you guys
Bye.
later. Bye.
And I click that.